Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pitattvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakhattvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the 16th chapter of Ashtavakra Gita, where says Ashtavakra providing a very highest but subtle teaching in this chapter. And the most important thing here mentioned is that even study of Vedanta becomes a burden. After studying Vedanta, having understood, then you have to contemplate in the direction that is being pointed out. So the idea is that it is self-evident and self-existent entity. The truth is, so you cannot make any effort to discover it because it's self-revealing also. So even according to Vedanta, you have to surrender yourself, and you will be the moksha will be provided to you. It's not that you select moksha, but moksha will be given, but it's given to whom? To those whose minds have been surrendered. That's what the essence of Saranagati in the Bhakti literature. And even in Visishta Advaita, it says you have to surrender. It says, Daivim Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durachaya Mame Vaye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. So Daivim Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durachaya. This Maya of mine is of divine origin. That means it's not created by you. So it's created by something beyond you. That's what is the Daivim implies. And Mamevaye Prapadyante, by surrendering to me, you only go cross this ocean of Maya. Mamevaye Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. So Etam Mayam Tarantite. You can cross over, that means overcome this Maya of mine or Maya of divine origin by surrendering to me. So the statement is to me, and it's taken literally as to the Lord Krishna or Lord Narayana. One has to surrender. That is the essence of Saranagati in the Visishta Advaita. But here, me also stands for the self or pure existent consciousness, because the Lord himself is nothing but Satchidananda Swarupam. And therefore, here me implies that it is an absolute truth. And how do I surrender? Surrender is not using some Shastras. Shastra is only pointing in the direction, but you have to leave even the Shastras also to go beyond. And this is expressed in Advaita Vedanta as you need Shastra study, and therefore it says Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. You have to listen to the teacher, to a teacher who himself studied Shastras from his teacher. So how long I have to study? Until that how long question is not there, because one has to understand until there are no more doubts. So Mantavyaha, reflecting on the teaching that it is crystal clear. And what is that knowledge? It is not something to know, but something by which you use the knowledge to go beyond even the knowledge also. So it says, Krutva Jnanam Swayam Nasyet Jalam Katakarenavatu. In the Atma Bodha, Shankaracharya says, Jnanam is required, and that Vritti Jnanam, that means by thought process only. Bhakatad Vijnasasva, that you have to inquire. So that is, you need to know. And the Atato Brahma Jignasa, therefore then inquire. So inquiry is to be done by the mind and through the process of thinking. So thinking is required, not that it is thoughtless process. Thinking is required. what is not there is the phala-vyapti. There is a vritti-vyapti but no phala-vyapti. That's what Advaita Vedanta talks about. What is vritti-vyapti and no phala-vyapti? Means there is the thought process, but thought process pointing out to the truth which is self-revealing. That means you don't need any more thought process. You think in the direction and leave the so-called thought and see that self-evident, self-existing, all-pervading, eternally present truth that is there all the time. And therefore, there is no, I am seeing a pot and that's called thought process and this is a pot. But I know this is a pot, a phala-vyapti is there. That means the result of seeing is that I know that this is a pot or I know this object. Whether it's a pot, this has to come from the knowledge of knowing that this object is called pot. The knowledge has to come separately. And this vritti-vyapti and phala-vyapti is there for every objective knowledge that takes place through any pramana. But this one is pramana, Vedanta pramana. When we say, it doesn't reveal the nature of the truth because truth is always present. What it reveals is it removes the ignorance, and in the process the knowledge is self-revealing knowledge. It gets self-revealed. It's like Sureshwara Acharya gives a simple example which we discussed, where it's a pitch dark room and I'm going there to see some object and I'm giving a torchlight to look around. So it's a small torchlight. I shed the torchlight here and I see a pot, I see a chair. So each object is getting revealed by the torchlight. So torchlight is a means and my seeing is another means in the presence of the torchlight, and the object is revealed in the process. So there is the process involved and the vritti jnanam is involved and the phala-vyapti is involved. Phala-vyapti is object, that there is an object there. That is the knowledge of the existence of the object, of this object, that object. And even if I don't know some name, I see an object, hey, I don't know what this is, but it's a funny object is there. It looks like some kind of analogy I may use without knowing its name also. So name comes later, but seeing is immediate. Somebody says, hey, that is what you are talking about, Gaga Boo Boo. This is Gaga Boo Boo. Now I know what Gaga Boo Boo also. Don't worry about Gaga Boo Boo. But the essence of the fact is there is a vritti-vyapti and phala-vyapti in all objective knowledge. Now, as I'm turning around with my torchlight, I saw a pot but inverted there. So to see a pot, I need the torchlight. So out of curiosity why the pot is upside down, I lifted the pot and put it aside. Then I see a candle burning inside. Now, do I need to put a torchlight to see the candle? I don't need it. The candle light is self-revealing. It doesn't need another light for me to see this light. So it is self-revealing. That means the phalam is immediate and I don't need another means for me to shine on it. So essentially, similarly, once the mind is pointing in the direction and the mind is purified, then the knowledge has to take place because it is self-existing and self-revealing entity. And if you want to go back and say what is this and all that, if you keep on thinking of Vedanta only, Vedanta says this, Vedanta says that, people get lost in the arguments and logics and counter logics and all that. All that bhashyas are required for settling the mind so that the mind doesn't have any doubts whatsoever. That's all meant for studying the Vedanta. But once it's no more doubts, then it has to be crystal clear, same. So even though people have understood at the same time not able to see what is the problem is the mind is still going out for searching for happiness outside. Its mind is not purified enough to see for the revelation of the truth. So what do I have to do for that? Keep their constant contemplation in that becomes essential means of purifying the mind. So purifying the mind is a process, and purification is a process, and the process has to go on. But seeing is not a process. Revelation is not a process. So because it is already existing truth that I am. So there is a difference between, is Shastra required for study or not? It is required until one discovers that you don't need Shastras for discovering what is there all the time. That is has to be understood. So when you read some of the interpretations and so-called the Navya Advaita, New Advaita, oh, you don't need a sculpture, it is self-evident, all you need to do is contemplate who am I, and all that is not correct. It may be possible for those who tune the mind, but for tuning the mind, you need a Shastra Pramana. That's what is a Vedanta says. It's not a fanatical statement, it's a statement out of analysis of the nature of the problem. So we finish 2 slokas and we'll do sloka 3 now of the 16th chapter. Ayasat sakalo dukhi, ayasat sakalo dukhi, nainam janati kaschana, nainam janati kaschana, anenaivopadeshena, anenaivopadeshena, dhanyaha prapnoti nirvrutim, dhanyaha prapnoti nirvrutim. Together. Ayasat sakalo dukhi, nainam janati kaschana, anenaivopadeshena, dhanyaha prapnoti nirvrutim. So ayasa means the getting tired. That means by effort, people get tired by constant physically tired. So mentally tired also. So ayasat from the exertion at the physical and mental level, mental and intellectual level. So ayas from efforts, sakalaha all, dukhi miserable. So people become more and more visible by constantly keeping the body, mind, intellect, trying to discover the truth, using the body, mind, intellect. And it says it's beyond the body, mind, intellect. That means it's not by constant thinking, not that you have to stop the thinking, but you have to see subtly what is that because of which you are able to think, and what is that because of which you are able to know the thought. That is the consciousness, and that enlivening factor has to be recognized as thinking goes on in the direction. So this is the ayasat. This is the karmana na prajaya dhanena tyagena ike amrutatva manasahu. So this sloka is chanted, it comes in the couple of Upanishads and says na karmana, not by action, na prajaya, not by prodigy, na prajana, na dhanena, by you can't buy the wealth, buy this knowledge, and na karmana, na prajaya dhanena tyagena ike amrutatva manasa. Only by renunciation then you get the knowledge. What's renunciation? It is the Ashtavakra talked about renunciation in the 5th chapter. It says, what can you renounce? You can renounce only when you own something. If you don't own something, how can you renounce? So renunciation is, you have to renounce the renunciation itself, because recognition that you don't own anything, but you pervade everything without owning anything. The ownership itself is a notional, and that itself is a real renunciation. But until then, you have to renounce. And that's what essentially ayasad sakalo dukhi. And by efforts, people trying to gain this knowledge by all sorts of efforts, and they will become only miserable because they don't get the very fact that I am seeking for knowledge itself prevents you to getting it, because the very fact that you are searching for all over, when it is there, when the seeker itself is the thought, so any search outside is not going to give you result. So ayasat sakalo dukhi. Nainam janati kaschana. And many people don't know this one and they keep effort. So if you go to, say you have to go and study Vedanta, so this goes on and on and on. Study groups, all are important, but one has to recognize the nature of the problem and use the knowledge in such a way that you have to go beyond the knowledge. Beyond means see the essence that is being pointed out. Their knowledge doesn't help. That because of which na mana gacchati, na vak gacchati, na manah gacchati, no manaha, na vak gacchati. That means mind cannot reach there. It means it is not by thought process that you can discover. You have to see what is that because of which I have the capacity to think. It's not another thought again. What is that? Again, it's not another thought. But you have to see what is that because of which thought itself rises in the mind. And thought itself is recognized by the mind. And using the mind, I have to recognize that. And that is essentially very subtle process. Therefore, nainam janati kaschana. Objectification of this truth itself becomes a problem because I am trying to discover the self. Where is self? All over. So, self is not anywhere, you are the self. So, what should I do to discover? Be there, discover means recognition of your own nature is the knowledge here. So, nainam janati kaschana. People do not know this one. Anena upadesena, and by this kind of teaching only, upadesena, by this current teaching instructions, danyaha prapnoti nirvritim. So the blessed ones attains the supreme nirvritim. The liberation is prapnoti. Liberation means recognition that I don't need to be liberated because I am already liberated. It's like the ring is searching for gold, where I say gold is somewhere and I have to go to Himalayas to discover. Yes, you are the gold. So turn inwards and see what you are. So you don't become gold and you don't discover some gold somewhere. You recognize that you are already gold. Not that you are not gold before for you to find out gold. So it's the same way, I am already the truth, and what I need is this kind of teaching where the very search has to be stopped and look inwards. There's who is the seeker, and that's what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi emphasizes. But that inquiry of who am I, as we said before, is only Tvam Padartha Vichara. But also a teaching is required where that I am is also the substantive of the whole universe also. That has to come through Vedanta Pramana. Here Swami Chimayanji quotes a Yoga Vasishta, which is of the same idea. Ajñāta paramarthena kriya matre cha tishtata palaka arpanya yuktena pumsat tattvam na chintayet. So ajñāta paramarthena. So paramartha ajñātena, in the sense by not knowing the absolute truth and ignorance of the supreme state, and kriya matrena and tishtata. People are constantly making an effort and they keep on either the going to tirthas, attending this and doing this puja, that puja, constantly aware of that. All are required for purification of the mind. But that's not the end result. That mind which is purified has to be turned inward to see what is that, because of which the mind itself is exhibiting the capacity to think. That's what need to be understood. So ajñāta paramarthena kriya matre cha tishtata palakarpanya yuktena pumsam tattvam nachintayet. So palakarpanya yuktena, because of not knowing on the nature of the absolute truth, there is no greater state of existence than the silence of the mind, where all vasanas are, says the palakarpanya yuktena, because of not knowing the results or anxiety for the results, this pumsam tattva nachintayet. They are not able to contemplate, or they are not able to abide in the knowledge that I am Aham Brahmasmi. Because Brahman doesn't need know. to know that I am Brahmasmi, because Brahman is Ekameva Advitiyam, one without a second, and it is absolutely pure Satchidananda. Who needs the one with the local mind, who has a confused mind, that I am the consciousness by myself, has to know that consciousness that the local mind is exhibiting is coming from the absolute pure consciousness, and that has to be by thought process initially, and one has to go beyond the thought to see how very thought process itself is being activated. We'll now sloka 4. Vyapare kijjate yastu, vyapare kijjate yastu, nimeshonmeshayorapi, nimeshonmeshayorapi, tasyalasya durinasya, tasyalasya durinasya, sukham nanyasya kasyachit, sukham nanyasya kasyachit. Together. Vyapare kijjate yastu, nimeshonmeshayorapi, tasyalasya durinasya, sukham nanyasya kasyachit. So vyapare kijjate yastu. Vyapare, in the activity itself, kijjate, feels pain, yaha to nimeshan unmishan yonapi. So who is the one who realizes? Here the Ashtavakra says, one who recognizes that any effort is going to be a waste only, because one cannot gain this knowledge by any effort. Na karmana. So it can be by a physical action or emotional action or by intellectual action. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena. So any of that will not take you there. So here vyapare is in the activity, kijjate, he only gets tired of it, kijjate, feels pain, yahahu. Then once he recognizes that I am not a doer anymore, then any doing is a waste of time. So you can, in fact, you can be a witnessing consciousness and recognize that I am not even a doer. I don't have to do anything at all. So that understanding, I don't have to do anything. And second level is, I can do anything also. Even though body, mind, intellect are actively involved, I stand apart and watch the body, mind, intellect. At the same time, recognize that I am not a doer. I am only helping the body, my intellect in my presence, even not helping. In my presence, the body is becoming so dynamic. That's why it's a wonder of all wonders, because the matter which is inert is becoming so dynamic from the morning to evening. The whole cycle goes on, and everybody start getting up in the morning and continuously duty and almost get tired in the midnight and then go to sleep and again start again and plan everything and regrets and all that continuous life is going on. And flowers are coming, the trees are going, and the trees are dying, and another flower. This cycle of going, it's a continuous process that is going on. And the life itself, the child grows, become adult and the youth, and then kick the bucket, and his next generation comes, is all worried about next generation. See, it is really a mind-boggling process. Vyapare kijjate. And the politicians one side trying to dominate one side. If you look at the whole world, it's really completely can get lost. So vyapare kijjate yastu. So even looking at it, you get tired of it. Kijjate, feels pain. Yaha, you. Nimeshan unmishayoho. Nimesha unmishayoho api. Even get tired of nimesha unmisha, blinking of the eyelids. That means closing and happening. Say, what are you doing? I am opening my eyes, I am closing my eyes, I am getting tired of this. Says, we blink without our knowledge. Effortlessly we blink. And effortlessly we start breathing without our knowledge also, whether we are awake and asleep. Most of the activities are run by the Lord Himself. And if I go and claim myself, I am doing it, that's another silly statement. Say, what are you doing? I am very busy, please don't disturb me. Why? Because I am breathing. You have been breathing unnecessarily for so many years. What for? So, I don't make any effort. If breathing becomes a problem there where I have to make an effort, then you realize, of course, the Lord has been helping and Lord is telling you, now it's time for you to go. So, vyapare kijjate yastu nimeshon and unmishayoho api. Nimesha unmishayor api. So, even the blinking of the eyes, opening and closing or blinking of the eyes becomes a tiring job if I start making as I am a doer. Just stand apart, I am not a doer, let the activities go on, I am not going to interfere or stop body, mind, intellect from acting. I only be a witnessing agent, let the body, mind, intellect act by providing a guidelines of how it should act. So dharma, purushartha are to be known, and by training, once you train, then only you can stand apart, let it watch, so that the body, mind, intellect follow the rules of the society. Otherwise it gets punished. So if it gets punished, let it be punished, because you are not the body, mind, intellect. So, but the Krishna advises, yajjad acharate shreshtaha tattat eva itarjanaha saya pramanam kurute logosto dhanavartate. So Shrestha Purusha, who is in the leadership positions, have to operate in such a way that people are going to follow your example as the basis for continuing. So therefore, one becomes a operation is that the training of during the sadhana, during the discipline, makes the mind to follow certain rules and dharmas, and therefore that habituated mind will continue to operate in that direction, knowing very well this is helpful for the society, for the loka kalyanam. So even though I am not a doer, I can see my body, my intellect doing appropriately under my guidance. So then I can slowly withdraw myself, and for me, once the body, my intellect is going on, it will have its problems, but I don't have any problems. Akartaham, abhoktaham, aham avyeha. I am neither a doer nor an enjoyer, and that kind of the knowledge will sink in. Vyapare kijjate yastu nimeshon unmishon api tasya alasya dhurinasya sukam nanyasya kinchatu. Tasya alasya dhurinasya. So that master, alasya means here, that master lazy person. That means a master idle person. Idle means he is not making any effort to do any action. Even blinking, he doesn't want to do it. Then I see him, his body, mind is doing, his body, mind, intellect is doing, not by him, by the Lord himself. Aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham asritaha prana samayuktaha pachamyannam chatuvidham. So as the prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, all physiological functions are being operated by me, as a Vaishwanara. That's why whether you are awake or asleep, the digestive process goes on, the circulation, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, all are going on without you putting any effort. Effortlessly is going on, because the Vaishwanara, as a Vaishwanara, the Lord himself is taking care. That's a very life principle. So why unnecessarily you have to interfere? And we only interfere by putting wrong things into the stomach and expecting Lord to digest the food. That also, Lord will give you a warning that hey, you are putting a lot of things that I cannot digest. You better be careful. So all these things are at the physical level, mental level, intellectual level. Body, mind, and intellect belongs to the Prakriti. I am not the author of that. Prakriti is the Maya itself. Mayavi. It is under the Maya of the Lord himself. I can stand apart, look at it. Ultimately, I am the one who is really controlling the Maya, or under my presence, the Maya becomes under my control, or it gets controlled. Therefore, the only guy who understood that I am never a doer and only witnessing the doing process at the body, mind, intellect, not only as his body, mind, and intellect, all other bodies are acting similarly. Everybody taking, I am doing, I didn't do it, I did it, he did it, and all that. But in fact, the Lord himself can take over. But surrendering to the Lord becomes important. Then dharma comes. Lord doesn't do any adharmic activities. So we'll do sloka 5. Idam krutam idam neti, idam krutam idam neti, dvandvair muktam yadha manaha, dvandvair muktam yadha manaha, dharmartha kama moksheshu, dharmartha kama moksheshu, nirapecham tada bhavet, nirapecham tada bhavet. Together. Idam krutam idam neti, dvandvair muktam yadha manaha, yadartha kama moksheshu, nirapecham yada bhavet. So idam krutam, this has to be done. Idam na iti, and that need not to be done. These are do list and don't do list. So this is what the whole life is, do's and don'ts. So these are things that need to be done, those are things that need not be done, whether it's a dharmic action or that should not be done. So need not be done, should not be done, or could not be done. All those things that are under idam neti, idam krutam. So do's and don'ts. Here essentially do's and don'ts are come under this dvandvaihi, this dualistic nature. So pairs of opposites, that's called pairs of opposite. So the Krishna gives you a list of it as an example. Says Sitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu Manopamanayoho. So Sitam, Ushnam, Sukham, Dukkham, these are pairs of opposite and have nothing to do with it. Because at the level of body, at the mind and intellect level, only this dvandvaihi. But once I recognize that, let the body, mind, intellect continue in the process, but I am pure sakshi. So therefore, I am never a doer. So one who knows dvandair muktam yada manaha, those mind who are free from understanding that I am this pairs of opposite does not affect me. That mind, while the mind, part of the mind is doing, but having the knowledge that I am beyond this doing of these pairs of opposite, that all that becomes is a real mind, and dharmartha kama moksheshu nirapecham tada bhavet. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha, these are called purusharthas. These are come under do list, where I have dharma is following the rightful actions, earning money, artha, fulfilling desires, dharmic way, and seeking for liberation. Liberation is called fourfold the requirements, and called sadhana chatushtayam. There are fourfold requirements of that is nirapecham. So there is no more desire even to know that, even because I am not any of that. Let the body, mind, and intellect do what needs to be done, because Lord is going to control anyway. Lord is doing everything by himself, using the body, mind, intellect. I have nothing to do with it. Then the Lord becomes important. That becomes a Saranagati. Saranagati is let the body, mind, intellect be governed by the Lord himself. And that's what essentially in the Visishtadvaita also they put Sanku Chakra on the body to know that it is this body, mind, intellect belongs to the Lord only. And that is the real Saranagati also. So idam krutam idam neti dvandair muktam yadha manaha dharmartha kama moksheshu narapecham tada bhavet. And we'll come back after in the second talk. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.